These are 10 of the highest paying jobs that almost nobody's talking about. And I promise you, by the end of this video, at least one of them is gonna change how you think about your next move. And this is coming from someone who spent over a decade studying careers and helping people land high paying jobs that they didn't even know existed in many cases. And the data backs it up. 5.7 million Americans with no bachelor's degree are earning 6 figures plus right now. So when I tell you this is doable, I am not making this shit up. Over 5 million people are doing it. And some of these you can start in under 6 months, some pay well over $100,000, and some of them are genuinely weird. But every single one is real and the pay is real as well. Now, real quick, every number here comes from real sources. The BLS, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Glassdoor, and real people telling you what they make. So this is not some AI generated list with made up salaries. We're gonna be putting receipts on the screen every single time. So if you appreciate me making this type of content and you wanna see me make more of it in the future, then go ahead and gently cheers the like button and let's jump into it right now. Okay, so let's start with one that you would never guess in a million years. And it's also gonna be a little bit of a weird and a fun one, and that is gonna be a golf ball diver. So these are the people who strap on scuba gear and dive to the bottom of golf course ponds to recover the thousands of balls that the hackers slice into the water, and then clean them and resell them by the millions. Now, it might sound like a joke, but it's not. One diver reportedly nets around $100,000 a year doing this. And check this out, there's footage of a guy doing this in some of the most dangerous water in the country, dodging actual alligators to grab golf balls off the bottom. Now, definitely not recommending you do that, but it even gets crazier from here. There's a man who turned this into a $15 million business recovering and reselling those balls. Now, real talk, that 15 million guy is the one who owns the operation, not the diver getting paid by the hour. And there's a lesson in that, but the point stands. There's a whole hidden economy at the bottom of a pond that nobody's thinking about. And hold that thought because you're gonna start noticing something about these people filming their weird jobs, and it comes up a lot in this video. The barrier to entry is low. Basically a scuba certification and in some cases the stomach to swim in murky gator infested water, which most people won't touch, which is exactly why it pays. Okay, so let's talk about this next one, and this is where it gets real. The travel nurse, but not just any kind of travel nurse, and not just the kind that you're picturing, but specifically one that works in a prison. Meet Kevin Levu. He's a 24-year-old nurse who works inside of Pelican Bay, which is a maximum security prison and pulls in over $112,000 a year. Now, working in a prison is a totally different world than in a hospital. You're a guest in the inmate's environment. There's med passes, side watch, clinic work, always watching your back. But the real money in nursing is in travel contracts. Take Aspen Tucker. In 2020, he was a staff nurse in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and he was making about $2,000 a paycheck. But he saw a travel nursing posting in Amarillo, Texas, paying $6,700 a week, and he was on the next flight. Didn't even give notice. And now he's making $187,000 a year and works about 9 months out of the year and doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. And another nurse, Nurse Alex, went on YouTube and said he's pulling $19,000 a month as a travel nurse. Now, one of our own community members, Nurse Jen, is also a nurse, but instead of just working the contracts, she started documenting how to navigate the US healthcare system on YouTube. Hold that thought too. Now let's talk about the barrier to entry. An RN license is about a year of experience, but the prison and travel versions just pay a premium that most nurses never bother to chase. And you could even combine these two things together and be a prison travel nurse. And then you'd make even more money. Now, by the way, what do these first two have in common? Well, they're both jobs that not a lot of people want to do, right? Not a lot of people want to dive for golf balls, and not a lot of people want to travel all over the United States, and not a lot of people want to work in a prison either. And this is going to be a reoccurring theme here because there's a lot of money in stuff that other people don't want to do, because it all just comes down to supply and demand. If there's a massive amount of demand for something and there's not a lot of supply because most people don't want to do it, there's going to be a lot of money in it almost every single time. And number 3 sounds like it's the most boring job on earth, which is exactly why nobody's fighting you for it. And that is the GRC analyst. And GRC stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance. And basically, you're the person who makes sure a company isn't breaking security rules and won't get hacked or sued. Sometimes into oblivion. Yeah, seriously, this position is so important that it can sometimes save companies hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. But there's no hard hat, no blood, no gator-infested water, in many cases, just a laptop. And the pay? Well, a woman named Nicole talks about GRC on her YouTube channel, and she almost quit YouTube. She had about 85 subscribers, but now she's got over 50,000, and she made $80,000 in a single month, just talking about compliance on YouTube. Or take Josh Madakor. He started posting cybersecurity videos on YouTube to try to land his dream job, and it worked. He got offers from 2 different Fortune 50 and FANG companies, And these are places with under a 2% acceptance rate, and took a job at a Fortune 50, but eventually he quit because his channel hit $186,000 in a single month. Now, the barrier to entry here in many cases is just a couple of security certifications. A lot of the time there's no degree required, or if there is one, you can go to a university like Western Governors University and get your degree in a fraction of the time. But either way, you can just study your way in from your couch. Oh, and the Western Governors University thing, that's something that both Nicole and Josh talk about on their channels. And by the way, I am not sponsored or affiliated with WGU in any way, shape, or form. I just think they're a good university. And Josh and Nicole, who are two of my community members who had a ton of success on YouTube, also talked about them a lot. All right, next up is the tower crane operator. This is the guy who sits alone in a glass box 200 feet in the sky. Now, there's a channel called Vlob Crane where the operator makes about $150,000 a year running one of these. Now, 150K might sound like it's on the high end. And to be fair, usually online, they talk about how most tower crane operators typically make about 49 to 81,000, with some of the top guys in bigger cities pushing past 100,000. With that being said, I found time and time again that with trade-related careers, the reported online earnings are typically far lower than the actual earnings in reality. Now, there's many different reasons for this. Some of the biggest ones being that a lot of these people get paid in cash, and so it doesn't really make sense for them to report the actual amount of money that they made. And so the actual earnings that are reported online typically are lower than the earnings in reality. But still, 6 figures to sit in the sky with the best view in the city, yeah, that's pretty nice. And you might be thinking, that's just a job for the guys, right? This definitely can't be done by women. Well, wrong. There's a female operator featured by BBC Earth in a day in the life video doing exactly this. And this is the part that should be setting off alarm bells by now. A channel called Tower Crane by Lucas J just films his POV running from the crane. And one of his videos, literally the shutdown procedure, made $11,500 by itself. So he got paid to do the job and then paid again to film it. Now, the barrier to entry, a crane operator certification and an apprenticeship, and total comfort with heights. Number 5 is going to be an ultra rich family nanny. So this is basically being a nanny for the ultra rich. Now, we're not talking about $15 an hour babysitting. We're talking full-time nannies for billionaire families, private jets, NDAs, luxury households, and you could be pulling serious money doing this. Now, the New Yorker did a whole piece on the 6-figure nannies and housekeepers of Palm Beach, just as an example. Business Insider ran a documentary on why Norland nannies, the gold standard trained in England, cost an absolute fortune. And there's an interview with an elite New York City nanny making $148,000 a year with flexibility and travel that most of us would kill for. 148 grand to watch some rich families' kids. Not bad, right? Now, the barrier to entry here is for the elite tier, Norland style training that would cost a fortune. But for most of it, real experience, glowing references, and total discretion. So you basically would just work your way up from the beginning and then start nannying for more and more wealthy families. And you get to a certain tier and a certain level where you just go full time with one of them.
All right, guys, quick break. This video is sponsored by me. I wanted to let you know that I'm going to be doing a live training this week where I'm going to be revealing the YouTube content advantage in 2026. It is a completely free training, no strings attached. In fact, I'm giving away even more bonuses at the training. Just as an example, I'm going to be giving away my niche validator. And this is going to be available for both Claude as well as ChatGPT, which is a super valuable piece of software where you can finally figure out what the best niche for you is. So do not miss out on this training. Make sure you sign up for it down in the description and the pinned comment below, because you only get it if you join the training. So if you don't join now, you might miss it. But that being said, in the workshop, you'll get to meet me. You'll get to ask me questions directly. So I look forward to meeting you. So click the link in the description, the pinned comment below. Make sure you put it on your calendar. And if for whatever reason you missed out on it, you weren't able to attend, make sure you still click that link, because we might be having workshops in the future as well, and you'll be the first to know about it. So yeah, hope to see you there. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
All right, next is the highest paid job that most people can't even define, and that is the actuary. So an actuary uses math to predict financial risk, how much a hurricane, a wildfire, or an earthquake is going to cost an insurance company, just as an example. And it sounds dry, but the paycheck is not. The Bureau of Labor Statistics puts the median at $125,000 a year. And on Glassdoor, the total pay runs $156,000 to $289,000 a year, averaging over $207,000. Now, actuary is one type of financial career, but to be honest with you, there's a bunch of other super high-paying financial related careers as well. For instance, CFO or financial controller or any number of things like that. But why does nobody talk about actuaries specifically? Well, it's because people think actuaries just fill out boring insurance tables, not that they're the ones modeling billion-dollar disasters. And there's a channel called Etched Actuarial that breaks down exactly what an actuary is and how to break in. And funny enough, I actually made a video about this career myself 5 years ago, and it's a real one. Now, the barrier to entry here is a bachelor's and a series of actuarial exams that are exceptionally difficult to pass. Okay, so the exams are the grind, but pass them and you're gonna be printing money in a cubicle that nobody thought about twice. Now, you might be thinking, Shane, why in the world are you telling me this if you need a degree and you need to pass a bunch of exams? Because you will probably need a math or a statistics or an accounting degree to get into this. So the reason I'm telling you this is because there's no specific degree that's mandatory, but what is mandatory is that you have exceptionally good mathematics skills. And you do typically have to have a degree. And there are a lot of finance, accounting, mathematical, or quant related careers that are like this. Actuary is just one of them. But if you do have the skills, you can make a ton of money doing this. All right, so now I'm gonna talk about 3 different careers that are completely AI proof, and I'm gonna put all of them kind of in the same category, but they are technically 3 different careers. And that is perfumer, Foley artist, and flavorist. So let's start with the perfumer. So in the industry, they call them the nose. And these are the people who compose fragrances, hundreds of ingredients, blended from memory for the perfumes and products that you buy every day. And the wild part is there are fewer than 1,000 real perfumers on the entire planet. Now that scarcity keeps the pay sky high. One house, Simrise, has started perfumers at $200,000. IFF pays roughly $105,000 to $165,000. Take Jo Malone. She started as a perfume expert and built a world-famous fragrance empire from nothing. So the barrier to entry, well, this one's brutal. It is probably the highest on the list. Years of training at a handful of secretive houses, usually with a chemistry background, and you don't apply to this, you get chosen. But if you got the nose for it, almost nobody on earth can compete with you. Now, like I said, this is not something that you apply for, it's more that you get chosen, and a very easy way to stand out and actually get recognized is to start a YouTube channel on something like this. So again, if that's something you want help with, I am doing a live training this week. Click that link in the description and pinned comment below to check that out. But the next one is the Foley artist. So you've heard of their work thousands of times and never once probably thought about it. And they create basically every everyday sound that you hear in a movie or a TV show or in a video game. So we're talking footsteps, a punch, a door creak, rain, etc. So there's a woman who makes the sound effects, for instance, for games like God of War. And one video about how Foley is actually done racked up 18 million views, and that single video made about $92,000. So $92,000 from filming the job, building their personal brand, and establishing yourself as an expert in your industry, which probably led to you making more money down the line. Let that sink in. And by the way, the job itself pays. The union standard is around $144,000, and in New York, the average is about $162,000. But with only 200 to 400 people doing it full-time at the top, the scarcity is gonna keep the pay high, because their entire job is to go completely unnoticed. Now, the barrier to entry here, well, film sound experience and cracking into a very small, very unionized world is going to present some difficulties. But again, this is a tiny field with big checks, and a great way to break in would be to actually make content about it. And this brings me to the next one, which is the flavorist. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of like the perfumer, but instead of smell, it's going to be for taste. So these are food scientists who invent the flavors in nearly everything that you eat and drink. Your chips, your soda, and your protein powder. And CBS News did a piece on them, and they average $120,000 plus per year, up to over $200,000 plus. And fewer than 500 of them exist in the entire United States. With that being said, there are other positions that are kind of similar to flavorists, but they typically don't pay quite as well. But there's a video featuring a senior flavorist at Givaudan named Smitha, who's been doing it for years. Now, the barrier to entry here is a chemistry degree and years of apprenticing at a flavor house. And it is a small closed world, but there are massive paychecks. And again, a good way to break in would be to actually start a YouTube personal brand, showing off your knowledge. So one of the reasons I wanted to do those 3 together is because yes, they are super niche, but the truth is there's millions of super niche careers out there. And I just wanted to show those just to get the creative juices flowing and really give you an opportunity to look into the things that you could potentially do. Next is a bug bounty hunter. And this one might be the most insane one on the list. These are ethical hackers. Companies literally pay them to break in and find security holes before the bad guys do. And a teenager named Santiago Lopez became the first person in the world to earn over $1 million doing it. And he was self-taught with no degree. And the BBC did a whole feature on the teenage millionaire hacker. And there's a documentary on these hackers who get paid to break into companies as well. And there's even a channel, the Cyberboy, who live streams himself doing the real bug bounty hunting on YouTube. The job and the footage of the job both paying. That's pretty big brain. Now the barrier to entry here is, weirdly, none of the usual ones. No degree, no formal title, just self-taught skill and the patience to hunt. It's an underground world hiding in plain sight. All right, number 9 is gonna be an aircraft repo man. So when someone stops making payments on a private jet, these are the people who track it down and fly it away. Now, there's a legend in this world named Nick Popovich, and his firm has repossessed over 1,600 aircraft and pulls $10 to $12 million in revenue per year. And to be clear, that's the firm's revenue, not one guy's salary. And it's also not exactly safe. There's a footage of a $1 million jet repo that ended in an actual fistfight. And there's even a full interview with Popovich himself. So the barrier to entry, well, it's a pilot's license. You have to be able to fly the thing, obviously. Plus you need skip tracing skills and a serious set of nerves. Now this is secretive, semi-dangerous work done by a handful of people, which is exactly why they can charge pretty much whatever they want, because almost nobody has the right skill set and the right traits and attributes to actually do this. But here's one that you can actually do, and that is residential cleaning. This job proves that you don't need a fancy skill set at all. Now the Sun featured a guy named Jason Shipway, no qualifications, couldn't find work, so he started cleaning homes. And he learned by watching YouTube and practicing at home. And he grew his company to about 520,000 euros a year. That's nearly 600,000 US dollars a year. Now check this out. There's a channel called Angela Brown Cleaning where all she does is teach people how to clean, how to spot mold, maintain a bathroom fan, handle a house full of pet hair, and another one, Clean with B, who films herself cleaning genuinely disgusting houses. And she pulls an extra $5,300 a month from AdSense alone for filming the exact job that she's already doing anyways. And one of her videos hit 4.4 million views and made $6,200 by itself. So the barrier to entry here is almost nothing. You can start this week with a bucket and a phone. No degree, no license, no the hard part is building the business, not the skill. Now, the one I actually wanted you to see this whole time is the content creator. And if you've been paying attention, you probably already feel it coming. Every single job on this list pays well and almost nobody's talking about it. But go back and look at who is making the most money in each one. It wasn't the person actually doing the job, it was the person filming it and posting it online. The tower crane operator whose shutdown video made $11,500. The Foley video that pulled in $92,000. The cleaning lady making an extra $5,300 a month just by posting what she was already doing on YouTube. Nurse Alex at $19,000 a month. Nicole doing $80,000 in a single month talking about GRC compliance. Josh Madakor quitting his dream Fortune 50 job and making $186,000 in a single month. Same pattern over and over again. So let me put one more job on this list, and this is the one that nobody would even call a job. And that is the content creator, specifically the YouTuber, because YouTube is the best social media platform when it comes to making money. Because what's actually going on here is you can pick almost any job on this list or any skill that you already have or any software that you're good at that you already do in your job or any subject that you got good at because you spent years doing it in college, or you just spent a lot of time doing it when you grew up, et cetera, and then just document it online. The job, or what you're already good at, can pay your bills. But the channel is where the real money is. And unlike every other job on this list, this one has no ceiling and no boss. Take my own brother, Zach. He's in the trades, he started a YouTube channel about it, and less than a month in, he made $214 in a single day. So he literally went from zero to a full-time income in less than 1 month. And he did all of it just by talking about what he already knew, spending 30 years in the trades. And he now has a second full-time income, stacked on top of his already really good income, even though he spent less than 4 hours a week doing it. And by the way, if you want to hear more about exactly how we grew his channel, go ahead and click that link in the description in the pinned comment below to attend the live training, because we're going to be going over that step by step. Now that playbook, takes something that you already do or are just interested in and turn it into content, is the single best opportunity that I've ever seen. And it is the whole reason that I do what I do. So this week I'm running a free workshop where I'll be walking you through the exact how-to step by step, and I'm going to be giving away the niche validator that helps you pick the perfect niche for you based on things that you're already good at or things that you already know or things that you're already passionate about. And I'm going to be giving that away free to everybody who shows up live. So this is all completely free. Links in the description in the pinned comment below. Click down there to check it out. Now, real talk, I know that 99% of you are going to watch this. You're going to get a lot of value out of my free stuff. You might even attend the free workshop and get a lot of value out of that as well. But we're never going to end up working together, and that's totally fine. But for the 1% of you who are actually serious, who want to not not only get results, but get results as fast as possible, and you wanna work one-on-one with a mentor who's already done it themselves, go ahead and click the second link in the description in the pinned comment below to book a call with us. But only book if you're dead serious about making this work and doing it as fast as possible. Everybody else, just enjoy the free workshop and enjoy the free content on this channel. And with that being said, check out this video right here where we go over exactly how we were able to get my brother Zach results in less than 1 month on YouTube.